I want to tell you two stories today about how hypnosis works that illustrate the power that we have inside of us if we work with someone who's really good at hypnotherapy. So I had a cross-country runner come into my office, and she had been performing less well as in her senior year as she was in her junior year. And of course, her senior year is the year that she wants to shine and go to state and do her very best performance, but she was almost 2 minutes slower than she was as a junior. And she was all stressed out. And so I said, well, what would you like me to do today? And she said, I want you to shave 1 minute and 40 seconds off my time. So she told me her time, and I said, what time are you going for? She said, it's for 3 miles. So she said, 20 minutes, 30 seconds. I'm like, okay, I'll do what I can do. So what I did in the talking portion is we talked about removing all kinds of pressure. I helped her through strategic questioning see that her life is really quite amazing. She has a lot to be grateful for. So she got to see that, man, she's a senior and she has a plan for after high school, and she really likes her plan, and she knows where she's going to go and what she wants to study, and she's excited about it. She also has a loving, kind family that she's very close to. She's also cute and adorable and smart and sweet. And so she just basically likes being who she is. She has really good friends, including one really best friend. And just by taking stock of her entire life, it reframed running as something she does just because she loves it. She doesn't need it to identify her. She doesn't need anything else to identify her. She loves her life and she gets to do this. So there's no pressure. She just gets to do it because she loves it and do the best she can. And sometimes our bodies are one way one day and another the other day. And each day it has whatever potential it has. So that's kind of not tremendously completely in our control, except that we can show up clean and ready to do something we love with as much passion as possible. And then I put her in hypnosis. And in hypnosis, I reinforce all of these things about how wonderful her life is. So there's zero pressure on her. I knew as an athlete that pressure does not serve. When we are calm, we can get into the zone. So I removed all pressure. And then I talked her through her race at the beginning of the race, how she would be feeling calm and just enjoying the opportunity to do something that she loves. And then I talked her through different stages of the race and how it was feeling, and letting her experience what her body was experiencing, and the love of the strength in her legs and the air in her lungs and the air pumping in and out and the scenery, and just fully illustrating the joy and love and passion for this activity. And then approaching the finish line and being so thrilled that her goal was within her reach, 2030, and seeing her cross the finish line. Well, she was my a friend, so I went to support her at her race. And at the end, I ran back up to the finish line. I seen her pass by a while ago. I didn't see her time, but I went up to give her a hug and congratulate her and see how she did. And she looked me straight in the eye, eyes wide open, and she goes, I go, what did you get as a time? And she goes, 20:30, the exact time she had come to me for, which she had been almost 2 minutes slower the entire season. Now, how did this work? I didn't run for her. I didn't do this for her. I didn't impose the ability on her to do it. She always had that ability. I simply helped remove anything that was not serving her and amplifying her spirit that loves this, does it for the enjoyment, for the challenge, for the passion, and had her experience it for all those reasons. That all lived inside of her. But our minds can muddle things. They can, take that pressure that we feel and affect our bodies. I simply removed that pressure. And then she had that within her to do it. She got the exact time that we had visualized. And then in her next race, she got a very similar time. And in the next race after that, she went to state with a 20:29. So I don't get any credit. She gets all of the credit. It was always in her potential to do it. And after that session, she continued to do it and even improve on it. The reason that this works so well is because we start to get all of our parts working in alignment. I just helped her realign with her truth of her life, removing pressure that wasn't appropriate and did not need to be there and was not serving her. And her passion got to rise up. The reason that she does it, the love of it, the desire to do it. And now she was all aligned and she was working at her potential. I'm Sheila Wenger. This is Shift is Happening. Thank you for being here. And now I have another story I want to share with you. In this situation, I did something I normally wouldn't do. I had a woman call me and she asked how much I charged, and I told her, and she said, well, that's too much. And I said, well, it's worth it. It is worth it. It will change your life. But if you need me to slide my scale a little bit, I can. She goes, well, I can only afford one session. And yes, I need you to. So I said, well, okay. What's the issue? She said, well, I know that I have these formative experiences that are getting in my way. I've done therapy and I know what the issue is. I just can't get past it. And I want to be more of a leader in my company. And I've even been told by people that I have leadership skills, but I keep not doing it, not stepping up. And I know exactly why. I said, okay, well, I have to tell you that what I typically do for something like that is I need 2 sessions, because in the first session, I just need to prove to you that hypnosis works. So then you believe it more. And when you believe it even more, you're more susceptible for me to do the deeper type of work that I can in our second session, which will get to that very experience and heal it and rewrite it for you. So then you're off and running. And she goes, well, I can't. I can't afford more than 1 session. But since I know what I think the issue is, can we just do that second session first? I said, well, I normally don't do that, but I'm willing to try, but I have to tell you, it's not normally what I do. And she says, well, I think you can really help me. Let's just do it. So I agreed to it. We get into my office and she does tell me again that she knows she has leadership potential, but she has this experience from a couple experiences from childhood that she knew has been thwarting her and kept her in fear. So I said, all right, well, then we will use age regression. And the way that works is when you feel the feeling that you're feeling, like I want to step up, but I don't, I hold back. That feeling in your body is a feeling you felt at the moment that formative experience shut you down. It's the same exact feeling in your body. So in hypnosis, when my client brings that feeling up that they always feel, too often feel, the subconscious mind will go back to other times you felt it, and we can get to that experience. And since that experience was situational, it was only because that child was young and couldn't do anything about it. But now they're all grown up and have the capacity to not put themselves in that situation anymore. So we can convince young child living inside of the grown-up that they never have to worry about that again. That's never going to happen. And grown-up will keep them from ever having to experience it. So we did this, and her experience was something. We took her back to an experience in 3rd grade, and she was a really good student. She was diligent and hardworking, and she loved school, and she loved everything about it. And she was really proud of herself, the student that she was. And so she got asked to be the recess monitor. She was super happy and proud because she knew that she knew all the rules and that she knew she could keep all the kids safe. And they put her in this orange vest as recess monitor. And she said, as I put that on, I felt so proud and I knew I could do this job. And then as she's doing it, this boy starts climbing the hill that he's not supposed to climb, that's off of the recess grounds. And she calls him back and says, you can't be playing on there. It's not safe and it's outside of school grounds. And he says to her, well, I don't have to listen to you because you are an expletive. He called her a racial slur that she had never heard before. And all of a sudden, all of her power was stripped from her. And she didn't know how, and she didn't know why, and she didn't know how to handle it. And she was flummoxed. So what we did in that regression is we helped her understand that she was all grown up. Little 8-year-old you are all grown up, and you still are diligent and hardworking, and you study hard, and you know the rules, and you're brilliant at what you do, but you're never going to be put in a situation like that again, because grown up, you will never allow you to be. And also we let her rewrite it where she now could see that she needed help. She needed the teacher to have prepared her for such a situation, or to have been there for backup. So we helped her rewrite that moment. And it's amazing how in hypnosis, time does not exist, and it is rewritable. So she went to the teacher and told the teacher what happened, and the teacher dealt with the child, and they made a deal that she could do this again, and that if anything ever like that happened, she would just go to the teacher, and the teacher would handle it. And the teacher would also discipline that child and make the situation better. So what happens when we do that is that the client, in that very moment that we do that healing, feels a tremendous physical and emotional relief. The child inside that's protecting her from ever having to take a risk knows they don't have to do that anymore, because she is protected from the grown-up. She never has to do that anymore ever again for the rest of her life. So I see my client physically relax and feel this triumph. And she's eyes closed, but I see these emotions change in her body language, and she starts to puff up. And when I count her back into consciousness, she wakes up and she goes, "It worked." She looked at me. "It worked. I know it." And she goes, "Thank you." And she runs out the door, and I was so moved. Oftentimes clients can feel right then and there that this has changed forever. And she was one of them. And she left my office, and a few days later, she was still on my mind. And so I emailed her. And I said, "I was so moved by your session, and I'm glad that you told me that you were ready to do this, because I'm just thrilled for you, and I'm wishing you all the best." She emailed me back, and she just poured praise on me for doing the work, because it absolutely had worked. And she told me that she left my office, went to a department store, and bought herself an orange blazer, which she wore to work the next day, at which point she started taking on leadership position. So it's incredible how this technique works, because a small version of us, before we're able to handle a situation that we're put in, decides, "This is so terrible that I'm never going to let you do this again. I'm never going to let you feel this again." And they create a false self that now has to be protective, who will never step out of those bounds again, because they don't want to ever have to go through that again. And that's what's holding us back. It's something old from when we're little. So imagine someone who's never done that work, and they've gone through 50 more years, never stepping up, never taking a risk into dreams of their own that they really want to experience because of something that happened to them that was not even their fault when they were 8 years old. This is what the mental health community needs to understand and grasp and appreciate about this technique, about this tool. In that session, it was eradicated. She was free of that story. So I wanted to share with you just a couple of stories. I could tell many more, but the magic of what well done hypnotherapy can do for you is the most underrated tool I've heard of, and I wanted to share with you. If you're a therapist, add this to your credentials. It can help your clients change faster, be empowered sooner. It's incredibly useful. If you have thought about doing hypnotherapy, it can change your life faster than you realize is possible. I'm Sheila Wenger. This is Shift is Happening. Thanks so much for watching. Please remember to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that we can continue on this journey together.